Okay, obviously I'm in a boot again. Nobody panic, I can explain. So towards the back end of last year, pretty much after the 70.3 Worlds in Marbella, I started to get some real irritation in my lower leg. I thought it was my Achilles tendon. Anytime I did any real speed work on running, it just seemed to get really irritated for the following few days and then would go away, and then the second I would do speed work again, it would flare up. So I consulted with my medical team. We decided to do a hyaluronic acid injection in there, which usually has really good effect with tendons and kind of just keeping it not inflamed and keeping it moving, and then it allows you to do the eccentric loading in the gym to manage the pain and strengthen the area. So I did that, and that worked really well the first time. However, at the very end of last year, I needed to have another injection in there, and when I had a scan done at that point, the medical team that I work really closely with said these areas in the leg are notoriously stubborn and you might be looking at needing to get surgery in the area to correct what's going on. And I was really cautious at first. I never want to jump into surgery. I wanted to make sure I could do everything kind of to manage it myself without doing that. So really hitting the gym, doing the eccentric loading, really trying to manage it like what normally has worked before. And I quite quickly realized that this time this just wasn't going to work. I'd laid off running for a little bit, and as soon as I reintroduced running, it flared up again, and that was just running slowly. So after having a call with my sports doctor, some surgeons, obviously Dan, my coach, was on the call. I obviously have Reese there as well. We had quite an in-depth conversation about surgery and decided that it was definitely the right option for me. It felt like we were jumping into it quite quickly, but I honestly believed that I'd done everything I possibly could, and in order to save my year, I wanted to get this done as soon as possible. And ultimately, the main reason for doing it is to add longevity to my career and allow me to keep performing at the level that we're used to seeing me perform at. So it kind of, okay, there was definitely tears involved in the decision. It wasn't an easy decision to make, but kind of once I'd made the decision, I was at peace with it. So the surgery that I had done was I had my plantaris tendon removed. 12 centimeters of the tendon was removed, and it was in that part of the tendon that there was a huge thickening, and that was what had been rubbing on my Achilles tendon and causing a lot of discomfort. What kind of happens with tendons, similar to muscles, is the more you train them, so if you're an elite athlete, you're obviously training all the time, similar to muscles, tendons do get thicker because they get stronger, but mine with that thickening was also meaning there wasn't enough room in there for the two tendons to actually work simultaneously. And not everyone actually has a plantaris tendon, so I am okay to remove it. I don't actually need it. Obviously, I'm sat here now in a boot and I'm not back to full training, but the experts have told me that you do not need that tendon to function as a high-level athlete. I'm definitely not the first high-level athlete to have had this surgery. I know a few that have had this done and have come back with huge success, so I'm very positive about what my return to training and racing will look like. And after seeing the tendon when it was removed, I definitely feel like we made the right decision, and consulting with my medical team at Fortius, it doesn't really look like any amount of strength and conditioning, massage, physio would have actually been able to it doesn't look like any amount of physio, strength and conditioning and other kind of more conservative methods would have corrected what was going on. So I do feel really positive that we made the right choice. The good news is obviously we had such a long season last year, very race intensive, and the season finished quite late. So I always had intended to have an extended off season and then start my racing a little bit later. The big goals obviously being at the later half of the season, and I don't foresee this really having any negative impact on those big races. If anything, it's going to be positive, because once I do make the return to run, I don't foresee really having any setbacks. And whilst I'm used to setbacks and this feels like quite a big one, I honestly feel like it's going to allow me to make a very big jump forward when I come back from this. So the big goals are 70.3 Worlds in Kona, which are much later in the year. I do have some goals that are slightly more time pressing, and we'll just have to see kind of how that goes. I'm obviously very ambitious, but I'm also realistic as well and want to do the recovery properly. I've been really well advised from the team of experts that I work with at Fortius around what my recovery will look like. They know that I'm an elite athlete and want to make a return as quickly as possible, but we're doing that in the smartest way we can. We'll definitely be documenting this journey and sharing it with you to show what it looks like to come back from a setback as an elite athlete. This definitely isn't my first rodeo doing this. I feel like we're very well equipped to come back from setbacks. Reece is extremely creative in terms of training and what I can already do. There's nothing wrong with my upper body, so working my upper body in the gym, keeping my core as strong as possible whilst this heals up. I hope anyone who is dealing with similar can obviously find something positive from that, whether it's similar or not. If you're dealing with a setback, then hopefully this will be positive and insightful for you. So make sure to like and subscribe and follow along, as we'll be sharing my return to training and then hopefully my not too long away return to racing. The fashion is just next level now, but